Hi, this is Kelley Smith with Xybix Systems, and we're here at Aurora 911 Dispatch Center. I'm with Tina Buneta. She's the director here. We are currently doing an installation here in the center. We're in the process of converting all of their workstations to new Xybix workstations, and it's been a pretty fun project. So what I'd like to do is, Tina, is ask you a few questions and kind of talk to you a little bit about how this project started and what made you decide to even do this in the first place.
So I just celebrated my third anniversary with Aurora 911. And one of the first things I noticed when I joined the team at the end of 2019 was that the console furniture and the carpeting was just very old. I could tell that it had been in place for a very long time. And I believe that the city really recognized that too, that it was time for a renovation. Obviously, COVID played a role in our timing, but as we came up for air and decided to move forward, we really just understood that some of the issues we were facing with how people showed up for work and mindset and resiliency and just overall satisfaction on the job really had a lot to do with, that our work environment plays a heavy role in that. And so we realized it was time to give the center an uplifting facelift of sorts, to bring some energy into the center and really to help, you know, all of the members of our team feel like we were investing in their work experience.
That's great. So, walk me through how you selected Xybix and what we kind of went through in terms of design,
Mhm.
talking about the flow, those kinds of things to make this what it is now.
You bet. So I'll first start off by saying that I'd already had a great positive experience with Xybix as a customer. Prior to coming to Aurora, I spent 20 years with the Colorado State Patrol, and the State Patrol is a customer of Xybix. And so I had been able to experience the design and implementation of the Xybix floor plan and product into the work environment. And I was so impressed with not only how strategic and intentional the design process and the installation was, but I was really impressed with the high level of customer service. So anytime that we had any sort of issue with any of the consoles, you were just a phone call away, and quick responsiveness, always checking in to see how things were going. And I remembered that. So that really played a heavy role for me. But really just engaging with you and having that opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas. And as we engaged in conversation, I was so impressed with how the Xybix team really walked me through articulating the vision. Like, what was it, that I was trying to accomplish? What was the vision for what we wanted our center to, how we wanted our center to flow, how we wanted it to look, how we wanted people to feel when they walked in the door? And that all played a real heavy role. So, really from the beginning of the that investigation process for how to move forward. The Xybix team came on site. We walked through our main and backup centers. We really spent a lot of time discussing, really what was the overall plan, not just in terms of aesthetics, but what were we looking to do to enhance the experience of our team. And that was the most important part of the process because you're really able to be intentional about designing how a workplace environment, the physical environment, plays into the overall employment experience for an individual. And, I can't say enough about that process. So, all that FaceTime we had together as a team, talking about it, the reliability of the design team and Trevor throwing together different layouts and designs and then letting us evaluate it and talk about it and being so receptive to our input for changes. By the time we had our final layout design, it had addressed every potential issue that we would foresee. It met all of the needs and in terms of just working toward that desired end goal. It checked every box. So, and then the price point, right? I think in terms of value for what we were getting. Incredible price point value, a great investment with lifetime warranties. Like, you can't go wrong with that. And really the process of finalizing that went very smooth, from my opinion, because it was really well thought out from the beginning.
So working as a team is critical. When you pick a vendor, you want to, you want to work with that vendor. As a customer, being heard's very important.
Yes.
And so it looks, at least I think you were heard.
Yes.
And you got everything you wanted out of
That's
this.
exactly right. I'm getting everything that I could want out of this process. And so far, I'm just incredibly pleased. The professionalism of the install team, they're just very courteous and collaborative with us. And I just really feel like we have melded into a team through this whole process, which also is very important, because that communication and that cooperation, in a live and working environment, and working around people who still have to do the job and answer critical calls and dispatch resources, all of that's really important. And so respecting each other and collaborating and communicating, it's been a very positive experience.
So one of the things that we don't talk about a lot is, what did you do with your staff to prepare them for what we're doing right now and what's happening? And because it's a disruption.
Yes.
And so what did you do with your staff or ahead of time to prep them for how we were going to walk through this whole process, and what it was going to do for them, and what they were going to have to live through for a little bit?
Right. Obviously, it's a huge disruption. Right. And I think that the important part, from my perspective as a director, was just to be very open and transparent with our team, particularly our leadership team, who would have to navigate the movement and plan for where everyone would be situated and how those workflows would continue during the disruption. I mean, there's no way to eliminate the disruption, obviously. But if we have some ability to understand the plan, having that pre-plan in place of the phases for how that would go, also allowed our team to put some thought into where we would relocate people at each step of the way. So the pre-planning was important. As we solidified and finalized all of our plans, I shared the floor plans with the entire department.
Okay.
And solicited input on the design and the colors. Obviously, we are a large department, so we weren't really able to take the let's pick colors by committee, because that would have taken us a year probably. But what we really tried to accomplish was to come up with a theme for color schemes and designs that were lighter, inspired warmth, and the earthy tones that we chose were just really meant to alleviate stress and to kind of settle that down. And we not only did that with our with this council furniture, but we also then purchased other office furniture and did painting in the offices to match this, so that we're consistent from one end of the department to the other, and achieving that same goal aesthetically.
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job with your colors.
Thank
Really
you.
looks good. So one last question: if you had any advice you'd give another director, a comm manager, a supervisor that's been taking on, it's going to take on this project, what would you tell them?
It's so much more than just the furniture. It's really about thinking, looking at your floor plan when you're going through this process and designing what your new center looks like. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And for us, a lot of our discussions turn toward, how do we eliminate the separation that kind of has physically occurred between call takers and dispatchers, police dispatchers and fire dispatchers, by we had segregated everyone into pods, and there was physical separation. So how do we inspire that feeling of teamwork, and really putting some thought into, how do we integrate people in proximity, so that people who weren't normally right side by side and working together now are interacting? That was a huge part of our planning process. And so I would just encourage anyone who's going through this process, number one, to really think about what it is, other than aesthetics and newness. What are you trying to achieve? What's your long-term goal? And then how can your floor design play into that? And how does that support the overall wellness and cohesion of a team? So that was really the driving factor. I think that's the most important thing we're getting out of all of this. And I would just encourage anyone to really think about that. If you're having trouble with establishing cohesion and teamwork between people with different job duties in your center, what can you do to reduce those? And I think our integrated floor plan is going to achieve that.
That's great. That's great. Well, we really appreciate being a partner and being part
Ditto.
of this project. So we're looking forward to a long partnership, and we really
Absolutely.
appreciate your business. And thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And another plug for Colorado, because we're already such a, we're really proud of the 911 community in Colorado, but I want to give some props to Xybix for being an active partner in Colorado's 911 community. I know that, Mr. Carson
Yep.
plays a role on our APCO NINA board and is very active in supporting our community, as is everyone at Xybix. And having someone local who can be in close proximity to really respond to our needs has been a huge benefit for us, and we're very appreciative of everything that Xybix does to support us.
Well, we appreciate it as well. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.